Hollywood, California, Warner Brothers Studios, August 15, 1973. Tuesday, 2:30 in the afternoon. The set is prepared for an action scene from the film Enter the Dragon, which will be Bruce Lee's most ambitious project to date. The movie that will finally position him as the lead in a major Hollywood production after years of being rejected, underestimated, and offered only supporting roles. The air inside the studio is thick, hot under the massive lights illuminating the martial arts tournament set. 40 people are working on the set, technicians adjusting cameras, assistants checking the lighting, stuntmen preparing for the next sequence. Bruce Lee is in the center, wearing the iconic black outfit that will become his trademark, talking with the fight choreographer about the final adjustments to the scene. He is 32 years old. 5'7", tall, 135 pounds of sculpted muscle and absolute control. This is his moment. After years teaching martial arts to Hollywood stars, after creating the concept for The Green Hornet, where he was relegated to a secondary role despite stealing every scene, after watching Steve McQueen and James Coburn become close friends but still not landing a lead role, finally he is the star. Finally, Hollywood has recognized that the man who revolutionized martial arts in the West deserves to be in front of the cameras. But the journey to get here was brutal. Every audition carried the weight of silent discrimination. Every meeting with producers ended with the same phrase: "You're good, but the American public isn't ready for an Asian hero." Every project he created was stolen and given to white actors. He watched the series Kung Fu be handed to David Carradine even though he had conceived it. He saw his techniques copied, his style imitated, his philosophy diluted, but his face never considered marketable enough. That's why this film is more than entertainment. It's a statement. Proof that an Asian actor can carry a blockbuster. A demonstration that martial arts are not cinema tricks, but a legitimate art form. A chance to show the world who Bruce Lee is. Not as a stuntman, not as a celebrity trainer, but as a force of nature. The scene they're about to film is complex. Bruce has to fight 4 opponents simultaneously, defeating each with a specific combination of strikes that he choreographed himself. There will be no excessive cuts, no slow motion to hide lack of skill, no stuntmen doing the heavy work. It will be Bruce Lee at his real speed, executing movements that challenge what cameras can capture. He is mentally reviewing the sequence when a voice cuts through the set's buzz. A loud voice, impatient, loaded with artificial authority. It's James T. Harris, the assistant director, a 45-year-old man who has worked in Hollywood for 20 years, always on the periphery of real success, always bitter for never directing a truly important project. He is talking to one of the producers, not noticing or not caring that his voice carries across the entire studio. "I don't understand why we're wasting so much time on choreography. Just hire the right Chinese stuntmen and speed it up in editing. No one will notice the difference." The set doesn't stop completely, but there's a shift in the air. Conversations drop in volume. People exchange uncomfortable glances. Everyone heard it. Everyone knows Bruce is just a few meters away. The producer tries to steer the conversation away, but Harris continues, now louder, as if the lack of reaction encouraged him. "Seriously, half the budget is going into these elaborate fight scenes. At the end of the day, it's all the same. These Chinese stuntmen do some acrobatics. We edit it fast, add sound effects, and done. The audience can't tell the difference between real kung fu and cinema choreography." The words hang in the air like poison. Chinese stuntmen. Said with casual disdain, as if reducing someone's identity to a disposable category was perfectly acceptable. As if years of training, decades of dedication, a lifetime of philosophy and discipline could be summed up as Chinese stuntmen. Bruce stops moving. His conversation with the choreographer dies mid-sentence. He doesn't turn immediately. He doesn't need to. He heard perfectly. Every word. Every syllable loaded with disrespect. He takes a deep breath, a technique he taught thousands of students to maintain emotional control in confrontation situations. He centers himself. But this time it's not about martial discipline. It's about human dignity. Slowly, Bruce turns. His eyes meet Harris across the set. The assistant director has his back turned, still talking to the producer, completely oblivious to having crossed a line that shouldn't exist, but does everywhere in Hollywood in 1973. Bruce's voice cuts through the set. It's not loud. It doesn't need to be. There's something in it that makes 40 people stop what they're doing instantly. It's the voice of a man who has spent his entire life being underestimated and has finally reached his limit. Chinese stuntman? 2 words. A question that's not really a question. It's a challenge. A line being drawn. Harris turns, and for the first time realizes the entire set is silent. Realizes Bruce Lee is staring directly at him. There's a moment of recognition, a flash of, maybe I messed up, but ego is a powerful drug. Harris forces a condescending smile. Bruce, you know how it is. We're talking production, budget, nothing personal. Nothing personal. The phrase people use when they say something deeply personal and want to escape the consequences. Bruce walks toward Harris. It's not an aggressive walk. It's measured, controlled, every step deliberate. The distance between them shrinks. 10 meters, 7 meters, 5 meters. The producer instinctively steps back. Harris tries to maintain composure, but his eyes show discomfort. Bruce stops 1 meter away. The height difference is minimal, but the presence is overwhelming. When Bruce Lee is in front of you, focused on you, it's like being under a spotlight. All the room's energy concentrates on that point. You called me a Chinese stuntman. The statement is simple, factual, without apparent emotion. Harris tries to laugh, tries to dissolve the tension with casualness. No, I was talking in general about... Don't lie. Bruce's voice is lower now, but somehow more intense. You said these Chinese stuntmen while talking about my work, about my scenes. You reduced me to a category, to a stereotype, to something disposable. The set is absolutely silent. No one moves. No one intervenes. This isn't about a work discussion. It's about something bigger. Harris tries to regain control. Look, Bruce, you're being too sensitive. It's Hollywood. Everyone jokes. It doesn't mean... Sensitive? The word comes out of Bruce like a blade. You think I'm sensitive because I won't accept being disrespected? Because I won't accept my culture, my art, my entire life being summed up as Chinese stuntman said with disdain? The producer tries to intervene. Gentlemen, let's stay calm. We can resolve this professionally. But Bruce raises a hand, not aggressively, just a gesture that clearly says, not now. This needs to be said. This needs to be heard. You know how many times I've heard that, Harris? How many meetings I walked into where they offered me the role of Asian fighter number 3? How many times they told me my accent was too Chinese for the American public? How many doors were slammed in my face not because I wasn't good enough, but because my face wasn't the right face? Bruce's voice doesn't rise in volume, but the intensity grows. Every word is an accusation, not just against Harris, but against an entire system. I'm not a stuntman. I'm the man who developed Jeet Kune Do, a complete martial philosophy. I'm the man who taught some of Hollywood's biggest actors how to fight. I'm the man who brought martial arts to the West when you didn't even know what Kung Fu was. And you call me a Chinese stuntman as if I'm interchangeable, as if any Asian would do. Harris is visibly uncomfortable now. His face is red. He tries one last defense. I didn't mean it that way. You're misinterpreting. No. Bruce cuts him off. You said exactly what you meant. And now you're going to learn something. There's a moment of confusion. Learn what? Bruce steps back, creates space. His posture shifts subtly. It's not threatening, but there's something in it that makes everyone on set pay absolute attention. You said Chinese stuntmen are all the same, that everything can be fixed in editing, that the audience can't tell the difference. Bruce points to one of the heavy bags on the set, a heavy bag used for training, hanging 3 meters away. See that bag? Harris looks, confused. Yes? I'm going to hit it, once, and you're going to understand why martial arts aren't cinema tricks, why what I do can't be duplicated by any stuntman, why respect isn't optional. Before Harris can respond, before anyone can process what's happening, Bruce moves. There's no visible wind-up, no telegraphed movement. His body simply explodes into pure action. The sound that echoes through the studio isn't a normal impact. It's a crack. Bruce's fist hits the heavy bag. A bag designed to absorb the strongest blows from professional boxers, with a force that sends a visible shockwave through the material. The bag doesn't just swing. It displaces violently. The chain holding it to the ceiling groans loudly, and for a moment it seems like it's going to tear free completely. But it's not the impact sound that shocks the 40 people on set. It's what comes next. The bag keeps swinging, and on its surface, a tear begins to appear. Slowly, the heavy fabric rips open, and sand starts leaking out. The bag literally ruptured from a single strike. 3 seconds. That's all it took. 3 seconds for Bruce Lee to demonstrate that what he does transcends acting, transcends cinema, transcends anything a generic Chinese stuntman could replicate. The set is in absolute shock. Technicians stare open-mouthed. The choreographer smiles because he already knew. He'd seen it before. But for everyone else, for the producer, the assistants, for Harris, this is revelation. This is seeing something you thought was exaggerated cinema proven real right in front of your eyes. Bruce turns back to Harris. His breathing is normal. His face is calm. No triumphalism, no arrogance. Just a statement being made. Is this what you call an editing trick? Is this what you think any Chinese stuntman can do? Harris has no answer. His mouth opens, but no words come out. The producer is pale. The entire set understands they've just witnessed something extraordinary, but more importantly, they understood the message. Bruce takes a deep breath. My name is Bruce Lee. I'm not a stuntman. I'm not a generic fighter. I'm not an interchangeable Asian face for you to use when you need cheap exoticism. I'm a martial artist, a philosopher, an actor, and a human being who deserves the same respect you'd give anyone else on this set. He pauses, lets the words sink in. And if you can't understand that, if you can't see me as more than a stereotype, then you shouldn't be directing this film, because this film is about dignity. It's about proving we're more than Hollywood allows us to be. And I won't let your casual racism destroy that. The word hangs in the air. Racism, said clearly, without hedging. Harris goes pale. I'm not racist. You reduced my identity to a category with disdain. That's racism. It doesn't have to be intentional to be harmful, and I won't accept your excuses because you didn't learn. You're just embarrassed at being caught. Bruce turns to the producer. Either he apologizes publicly to everyone on this set and learns to treat people with respect, or I walk, and you can try to finish this film with your generic Chinese stuntmen and see how that works. It's an ultimatum, a line in the sand, and everyone knows Bruce isn't bluffing. The film needs him infinitely more than he needs the film. He's already proven in Asia he can be a star. Hollywood is the one that needs to prove it's ready for him. The producer looks at Harris. Harris looks at the floor. The silence stretches. And then, finally, Harris speaks, his voice small, defeated. I apologize. You're right. It was disrespectful. It wasn't appropriate. I'm sorry. Bruce watches for a moment, assesses the sincerity, finds it sufficient, not perfect, but a start. He nods. Accepted. But don't forget this lesson. Respect isn't optional. Dignity isn't negotiable. And people aren't categories. He turns, walks back to his mark on the set. Now let's shoot this scene, the way I choreographed it, with the respect this art deserves. And the set returns to work. But something has changed. Everyone there knows they witnessed more than a set argument. They witnessed a man refusing to be diminished. They saw Bruce Lee defend not just himself, but every Asian martial artist who came before and will come after. They saw dignity demanded and won. 3 seconds. That's all it took for Bruce Lee to tear open a heavy bag and an attitude. 3 seconds to prove he wasn't a Chinese stuntman. He was a legend.